So in the book, you use the term culture of sameness.
Yes.
And I'm hoping you can expand a bit on what this is and where you find this. And, because again, we're like looking inward, how you find that manifesting itself in synagogue life. And, what is the detriment to us when we are grasping onto that culture of sameness?
So I find in general that tribalism breeds sameness. In many ways, it requires it in order to survive. And the way that I've metabolized this over time is that it feels to me often like there are these arbitrarily chosen checkpoints on a list. These are the 10 things it looks like if you're Jewish. These are the 10 things it looks like if you're black, if you're LGBTQ+, if you're Muslim, if you're this, if you're that. And if you cannot or do not or will not check those boxes, you are divergent. And what is divergent is very threatening and uncomfortable to people. It's human nature when we meet somebody new that we look at them and we scan them and we say, oh, are they like me or are they not like me? If they're like me, then I'm safe with this person. If they're not like me, I might not be safe. That is kind of what happens inherently in human beings. And so I find that in this world where, and we'll use the Jewish community as a specific example, where these are the 10 things to be Jewish, I automatically, because being white is still on that list, I don't work. And when you don't work, there's very rarely a space for you. But it does expand out beyond that. So I'm going to use a different example. I'm 54 years old. I am single, never married, and I don't have children. Okay? I am not divorced. I am not widowed. I am single, never married. There is not a chavurah for me. There are not programs for people like me. There are women's organizations, Jewish women's organizations, that are running missions to Israel, and they are specific that you must be married and a mother. Yes. And it was funny because they're for women of my age, like 45 to 55, trying to get you to go back to Israel. And somebody said, you should come. I said, it's not for me. I am not married and I don't have children. And so I am literally left out. There is nothing for me because I didn't get married, not by my own choice. I would love to be married and I would have loved to be a mother, but I'm not. And because part of that checklist is you get married and you have a family. And we have made a little more space. Now you can be a same-sex couple in some Jewish communities. Not in all, but in some. But if you're single, there's nothing for you. And that culture of sameness is detrimental because when you don't feel like there is room for you, how many times are you going to keep coming back? Like I often joke, if I go to a restaurant and they're not kind to me, I'm not going back. What do you think I'm going to do at a synagogue? If there's nothing for me and they're not quite sure I belong there, I'm really not coming back. And so the detriment to our community is that, again, we are limiting ourselves to being these few things we cling to. And because of that, we will lose people. We will lose people who are wonderful and bright and talented because they don't feel like there's room for them. Does that make sense?
Isn't there singles groups? I mean, like singles groups?
There are young singles groups, not for my age. If I were 23, I could go to Israel, and as impossibly young and fresh as I look this morning, at 53, there is nothing for me. Nothing. Nothing. It is, to quote my bubby, it's a shanda. Yes, and that's the other thing. If you are then above a certain age, there is stuff for you. But from the time I was in my there's some group called One Table, I think it is, and they do Shabbat dinners, and you can sign up online and you can go to people. You have to be 21 to 35. So I don't deserve a little chicken and matzo ball soup too? But I am not, and literally, I am not welcome. And that's the detriment. That's the detriment.
Absolutely.